The Misadventures of Franklin the Forgetful. Once upon a time in the whimsical town of Cloverton, there lived a kind-hearted but incredibly forgetful old man named Franklin. He was known far and wide for his forgetfulness, which often led to amusing and laughter-filled escapades. One sunny morning, Franklin woke up with a twinkle in his eye and a peculiar idea in his mind. He had decided to throw a grand party for all the townsfolk. Word spread quickly, and the townspeople were abuzz with excitement, eagerly anticipating the festivities that lay ahead. Franklin's enthusiasm was contagious, and he set to work meticulously planning every aspect of the party. He sent out vibrant invitations, decorated the streets with colorful banners, and even hired a band to keep the revelers entertained. However, as Franklin was busy making preparations, he began to forget crucial details. He would arrange for the cake delivery but forget to mention the flavor, leading to a hilarious mishap when the baker delivered a gigantic onion cake instead of the anticipated chocolate delight. Next, Franklin went shopping for decorations. But as he entered the store, his memory betrayed him yet again. He ended up purchasing an assortment of mismatched items, including a pink flamingo lawn ornament and a disco ball, instead of the standard party decor. Undeterred by these mishaps, Franklin soldiered on, convinced that everything would turn out fine. As the day of the party arrived, the townspeople eagerly gathered at the town square, their anticipation blending with curiosity about Franklin's quirky forgetfulness. As the band struck up a lively tune, Franklin donned his chef hat and apron to prepare a feast fit for a king. However, his forgetfulness once again got the better of him. Franklin mistook sugar for salt and added a mountain of sugar to the main course, leaving everyone puzzled and laughing at the unusually sweet spaghetti. But the fun didn't end there. Franklin, always the jolly soul, decided to entertain the crowd with a magic show. Armed with a deck of cards and a top hat, he began his act, only to realize he had forgotten the magic words. Instead of rabbits appearing out of the hat, Franklin pulled out an assortment of vegetables, much to the amusement of everyone present. Despite the comical mishaps, the townspeople had the time of their lives. They danced under the disco ball, laughed at the mismatched decorations, and embraced the chaos Franklin's forgetfulness had inadvertently created. In the end, Franklin's forgetfulness turned out to be a blessing in disguise. His unintentional blunders had brought laughter and joy to the town of Cloverton. From that day forward, the townsfolk celebrated Franklin's forgetfulness as an essential part of their community spirit, hosting an annual Forget-Me-Not festival in his honor. And so, the legend of Franklin, the forgetful old man who unintentionally thrived on spreading laughter, continued to brighten the lives of the people in Cloverton for generations to come. Remembering to forget the tale of Franklin's unforgettable party. The hilarious misadventures of Professor Quirkington. Once upon a time, in the charming town of Whimsyville, there lived a renowned but eccentric scientist named Professor Quirkington. He was known far and wide for his wild experiments and peculiar inventions that often had hilariously unexpected outcomes. One sunny morning, as Professor Quirkington was rummaging through his cluttered laboratory, trying to find his missing sock, he stumbled upon an old dusty book hidden behind a stack of papers. The title read, "The Ultimate Recipe for Endless Laughter." Intrigued by its contents, the professor decided to try it out, hoping it would add a touch of mirth to his otherwise dull routine. Following the recipe's instructions, Professor Quirkington mixed a pinch of tickle powder, a spoonful of giggles, and a handful of chuckles. As he stirred the concoction with a twinkle in his eye, the mixture began to emit vibrant colors and amusing sounds. The professor poured the bubbling mixture into a vial, excited about the potential hilarity it promised. Eager to share his newfound creation, Professor Quirkington invited the townspeople to his grand unveiling. Families, children, and even pets gathered in the laboratory, brimming with anticipation. The professor, unable to contain his excitement, uncorked the vial, releasing a wave of laughter into the room. But to everyone's surprise, instead of bursting into fits of uncontrollable laughter, the townspeople transformed into comical versions of themselves. Bakers grew elongated noses that quivered like dough, making bread-shaped honking sounds when touched. Policemen sprouted clown shoes and began patrolling the streets with exaggerated, bouncy steps. The entire town metamorphosed into an uproarious carnival of rolling laughter. At first, some were bewildered by their absurd transformations, but soon, their confusion gave way to amusement. The townspeople embraced their altered appearances and reveled in their newfound silliness. Laughter filled the air as everyone delighted in the infectious joy that had swept across Whimsyville. Professor Quirkington, taken aback by the unexpected results, scurried around town, tickling noses, and concocting antidotes to revert the townspeople to their original forms. But the more he tried, the more absurdly hilarious the transformations became. The laughter echoed through every corner of Whimsyville, with even the animals joining in on the uproar. Days turned into weeks, and the townspeople didn't seem eager to return to their former selves. They found delight in the simplest tasks, turning everyday occurrences into side-splitting adventures. Children bounced on trampolines made of bubblegum, while adults carried out serious conversations with balloon-like voices, causing tears of laughter for all who heard. Finally, Professor Quirkington realized that his town no longer needed an antidote. In their transformed states, the townspeople had discovered the true magic of laughter. With hearts full of joy, they celebrated their newfound hilarity, relishing in the unique charm that had enveloped Whimsyville. And so, the townspeople of Whimsyville continued their mischievous, giggle-filled lives. Every now and then, when a new discovery was made in Professor Quirkington's laboratory, the delightful laughter of the townspeople would grow stronger and infinitely more contagious, reminding them that life was best lived with a healthy dose of whimsy and laughter. And thus, Whimsyville became a place where happiness bloomed, and laughter overflowed, a testament to the magical power of humor in even the most unexpected circumstances. The end. The Misadventures of Whiskers the Cat. Once upon a time in the peaceful town of Meadowville, there lived a mischievous little cat named Whiskers. With his bright orange fur and mischievous green eyes, he roamed the streets, causing all sorts of funny and unexpected chaos. One sunny morning, Whiskers woke up feeling particularly adventurous. He decided it was high time to explore the mysterious forest on the outskirts of Meadowville. So off he trotted, his fluffy tail held high, and an undeniable air of curiosity surrounding him. As Whiskers entered the thick foliage of the forest, he stumbled upon a family of squirrels having a lively debate about who had the tastiest acorns. Intrigued, he decided to join in on their fun. Climbing up a nearby oak tree, Whiskers leaped from branch to branch, amusing the squirrels with his acrobatic antics. Little did he know that his acrobatics disrupted a peaceful nap for a wise old owl, who decided to teach that pesky cat a lesson in humility. As Whiskers continued his playful adventure, he came across a rickety old bridge that stretched over a sparkling river. Unable to resist, he began crossing the bridge, his tiny paws testing each wooden plank for stability. Suddenly, the bridge creaked and groaned under his weight, and before he knew it, he found himself clinging on for dear life as the bridge swung precariously back and forth. The squirrels, now watching from a safe distance, burst into laughter at the sight of Whiskers' predicament. Just as Whiskers thought his misadventures couldn't get any worse, he stumbled upon a beehive hanging from a low branch. Being a lover of all things sweet, he couldn't resist the temptation and decided to give it a quick swipe with his paw. In an instant, angry bees swarmed around him, chasing him through the forest as he darted and weaved between trees. Finally, exhausted and thoroughly humbled, Whiskers found solace beneath a large mushroom, praying for the bees to buzz away. To Whiskers' surprise, the wise owl that he had disturbed earlier appeared before him. But instead of scolding him, the owl offered some much-needed advice. "Whiskers," the owl hooted, "remember that sometimes misadventures can teach us the most valuable lessons. Seek happiness in your own surroundings, rather than disrupting the peace of others." From that day forward, Whiskers learned to appreciate the simple joys of Meadowville. He spent his days basking in the sun, chasing butterflies, and enjoying the company of his fellow townsfolk. The squirrels forgave him for the laughter he had caused, and the bees even stopped by occasionally to share some of their honey, now that Whiskers had learned his lesson. And so, the mischievous cat called Whiskers became a beloved member of the community, renowned for his funny and unexpected adventures. To this day, children in the town of Meadowville tell tales of a cat who learned that sometimes the greatest joy can be found right at home.